We've been talking about the oligarchy, the tech bros, and how they're infiltrating the government, how they've literally bought the White House. But it's important to know and understand their whole point. And I've talked about technofeudalism. I do have a video on technofeudalism. It's quite important. You should definitely check it out. But this was put out from Psychology Today. Technofeudalism and the war for your attention. We have got to talk about this because it all goes hand in hand to speak to what their game plan is and how they are winning this war without people even really knowing and understanding what it is. All right, it says big tech's success depends on its ability to capture and hold our attention. The key points of this article. Varoufakis' new book argues a new economic system has emerged rooted in cloud capital. The new system is dependent on the ability of capturing and holding your attention and engaging you. New tech can not only learn your behavior, but also modify it in a personalized way. Okay, let's jump into the article. Greece's former finance minister and public intellectual, Yanis Varoufakis, has produced a provocative thesis that is relevant to the vast majority of us who engage with tech. While he is primarily an economist and the book itself is rooted in economics, history, and politics, Varoufakis' text contains claims that are relevant to those interested in psychology, especially big tech, and its potential to modify our behaviors and hold our attention. While traditionally capitalism concerned itself with profit and the market, Varoufakis describes the emergence of a new ruling class, those who own the virtual spaces within which so much of our lives now occur and shape our behavior. He names Google and Apple as being among the primary feudal lords and cloud capitalists. Why he terms it feudalism is due to other companies having to rent space within these dominions, such as those who want to sell their apps on the Apple Store. We lowly tech users are the cloud serfs with our engagement with products, whether it's sharing our photos, opinions, or reviews, or uploading our journey progress, being akin to our labor. Without our labor, the purpose and value of these companies would decrease. The better they are at capturing our attention and inviting our engagement, the more successful they become. Varoufakis sources the beginning of the war for our attention to the emergence of television and the need for pre-cable TV companies to make money. While they did not yet have the technology to charge people for watching, what they could do instead is produce commanding content that garners people's attention and then charge advertisers for the opportunity to advertise alongside their attention grabbing content. When I think about the cartoons that I used to watch as kids and how they created cartoons that were basically long commercials and then paired it up with toys and cereal and candy and all of that, we have been fed a steady state of commercials forever. And this is how they're making their money. They make attention grabbing content so that we'll go out and buy the things that they talk about. And it's been so programmed into us, and we watch these programs. It literally does shape our lives. And it's quite insidious how it has happened without many of us knowing and understanding that this is going on. All right, I just wanted to point that example out because it does make me think about my childhood and how cartoons have always gone hand in hand with things to buy. And now movies and TV shows and everything on Netflix, it has something to buy along with the TV show or movie. So just keep that in mind as you watch things. We can see how this model has been nurtured with the steroids of technological advancement and the ability to both personalize content and harvest personal data. Further to this, the ability for our devices themselves to capture our attention is unprecedented. They are steeped in behavioral design and quite simply too good at drawing us in with engagement. Where things take an even deeper turn is within the idea that this data that we volunteer gives AI and algorithms more sources of data to us and in turn impact and modify our behavior. Such modifications can include encouraging us to walk more or sleep better, but also to buy more or to think a certain way. The behavioral components of this new relationship are fascinating and harbor the potential for a great deal of good as well as corporate misuse too. Not all implications are behavioral. Varoufakis also directs energy towards the pressure of social media on us, especially the young. For young people today, curating an identity online is not optional. With this not only serving the economic functions of big tech, but also posing threats for the well being of us all, and especially the young. While this might not seem like an exaggeration, consider the work of Jonathan Haidt and his claim that social media has led to poor mental health outcomes for the young and especially for girls. Haidt's advocacy for harder restrictions on social media for children add to a growing tide that has seen countries such as China and Australia enact hard restrictions on social media use among children. Being an economist, Varoufakis himself does not offer too many psychological solutions and instead focuses on economic ones such as the democratization of tech companies, highlighting how the new economic realities differ from the old. He states that in more traditional companies such as General Electric, ExxonMobil, and General Motors, salaries and wages took around 80% of a company's income. With big tech companies, workers collect less than 1% of a company's revenue. This is likely to be unsettling to most, even those who strongly disagree with Varoufakis' politics. Why am I even bringing this up? Because I've talked about technofeudalism, and we're just now getting a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. But these tech bros are making so much money hand over fist because our engagement, our attention equals money, and other companies are paying them to keep our attention on these apps. And we have got to be more aware of the people behind the scene. Like, we see Elon Musk front and center. We're learning more and putting Peter Thiel's name out there and how he has bought and paid for JD Vance. We're seeing other names pop up that many people might not have seen before, like Curtis Yancey. We need to start highlighting who these people are behind the scenes, these tech bros that are garnering our attention and our money because they are the ones that are shaping our lives. And since our lives are so connected with smartphones, smart cars, smart TVs, and can track our payments, the things that we might be interested in, the things that we pause on and just scroll, our messages, everything. These people literally know who we are. And even more insidious, Elon Musk has broken into all of our information by breaking into the government and hacking our lives. What is going on? I really don't know all this technology stuff, but it is insidious when we know and understand that AI is here and how they use data to continue to feed the algorithm and make AI whatever they need AI to be and whatever they're going to use AI for. These people are already nefarious. We know that they're nefarious. They do not have good intention. We can see that by watching Elon Musk being front and center. But what is going to come of everything else? We need to start out by figuring out who these people are exactly.
Who are the PayPal Mafia, and how are they linked to apartheid-era South Africa?
Well, they're a group of men who are at the top, the founding of PayPal, all of whom in some way or other grew up in South Africa as children. You've got Musk himself, who was born in South Africa and lived there, went to high school there until he was 18. Musk's grandfather, Canadian grandfather, had been the head of the Canadian branch of a political movement in the 1930s called Technocracy Incorporated, which in essence wanted to scrap democracy in the United States and Canada and have technocrats rule the country, which might sound familiar. That becomes a de facto fascist party, is banned during the Second World War, and then the grandfather moves to apartheid South Africa, having had no connection to the place, in 1950 because he likes the sound of apartheid. And even Errol Musk says of the grandfather, he was an open neo-Nazi. You got Peter Thiel, who was a co-founder with Musk of PayPal. Thiel was born in Germany, but brought to South Africa as a young child. His father was a mining engineer, lived in Johannesburg, and then moved to Southwest Africa, which was then a South African colony, is now Namibia. And he went to school in Swakopmund, which was notorious as probably the last place on the planet where people still openly greeted each other with Heil Hitler and celebrated Hitler's birthday. He went to a German school there before moving to the United States when he was 10 or 11. You've got David Sachs, who was born in Cape Town. He's big in PayPal and is now Trump's AI and crypto czar. He moved to Tennessee as a relatively young child, but grew up in the white South African diaspora there. And you've got Roelof Botha, the grandson of Pik Botha, the last foreign minister of apartheid South Africa. He was the acceptable face of apartheid. You'll remember he used to run around the United States trying to put a gloss on how they were reforming things and that everything was getting better. So you see those four key people at the top of PayPal, and they all have this, very intimate connection to South Africa.